fairy godmother, or are you cousin Janet her fairy godmother?
Her name is Jessie.
So now we need a volunteer to light the peace candle. Come on down. You're the next contestant on. The right light is right.
Peace of heart and peace of soul. For peace of mind, peace of heart, and peace of soul.
How about a gnome? You got a gnome? Ready? Yes.
Janet. Berkowitz, can we have an oin?
Oi! Very good. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
You never know what's going to happen next at Pebble Hill. So next we have healing prayers. And
You know what? We just do meditation, no song. We little behind us the time. Let's keep the song.
okay.
Today we do different meditation.
With a concept that I invite you all to get very comfortable. And anybody who wants to participate, and you can close your eyes and get in a very comfortable physical position. And so, our intention today is going to be to heal ourselves, to allow love's light, God's divine perfect light, to heal us first, and to let that light radiate out to the world. To see that white light within you, right behind your beating heart. Brilliant white light radiating out in every direction slowly. Your chest filling up, radiating out towards your head and your feet. Now radiating out through your aura, fully cleansing, fully healing, whole and perfectly healthy, just as you were created, just as you were meant to be. And now, just let that light flow through you. Clear a channel for God's light, God's perfect love light, shining out brilliantly like a million suns, shining out beyond this town, this county, this area, this country, beyond this world, to all sentient beings. And know that everyone is affected by this light that you are sending out now. And so it is. Amen. Om. Peace, Shanti.
Very good. Okay. So, we're going to look at something here about the shift from a course in miracles to a course of love. Now, let's just do a quick run through here. The Course in Miracles was like this. Good news! They're all going home to God. Yeah! It is so exciting when it hit the planet. Don't worry, Janet will be here soon. This is going on all the time of this whole thing. You're probably getting sick of me already. Then comes the Course in Love. It's like this. It's gentle. It's very, very gentle. Very tender. But it's tough. Yes, she is tough in this book. He is telling you, don't be doing this, you don't need to be doing that. You know, it's that kind of thing. Now, a quick renewal here for anybody who don't know. When Jesus hits the planet, he was not about to get it. He says, accept it if you got it, but it's not real. Don't get into that bullshit. That was his message. He said, look to me because I'm a good dude here. I know what I'm doing. I'm only here to remind you of who you are. And who he is saying you are is who he is. And who all of this is. It's all the same thing. So let's look. I don't know, can you see? I'll read it so you can't see. Course of Miracles, Course of Love. You look at the shift. Notice the colors here are just slightly different here. Because it's a shift, not a difference. So the Course of Miracles is about the mind more, undoing the thinking. The Course of Love is Asol, what is Asol, Asam. Asol is about the mind and the heart coming together. He calls it wholeheartedness. Here we're talking a lot about God. Here we're getting into you are God. But he doesn't just come out, oh hello darling. He doesn't just come out and say you are God. He works you to that point, to the whole 3 books. It's 3 books. Just like the Course in Miracles, but different. No lessons. So he slowly works you to the point where you get it. You're it. What is God? Nothing more than love. God is love. You are love. You are different molecular versions of love. Am I right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so here we're talking about from the learning we're unlearning all the crap we learned. This is good, that is bad, you gotta do this, you gotta do that. No, we're unlearning that. Over here we're taking it to remembering. Remembering that we are God, that we are the whole thing here. And so that is knowing. Now we're getting into knowing. Here's the talking with the Holy Spirit, the voice for God. Listening from the voice for God. Over here, he calls it Christ consciousness. Now what is Christ? Jesus is not the only Christ, you're Christ. It's all Christ. The higher self is the Christ. It's a Greek word for the higher self. So I am Janet Christ, Sandy Christ, Alan Christ, yada yada. We used to live, who knows Alan Cohen? Yeah? We used to live with Alan Cohen there, the Course in Miracles community in Piscataway, and New Jersey. And he would say, we would all call ourselves Janet Christ, Scott Christ, like that. Okay. It's very funny, you know, me and my cousin here, we're Jewish. So you know this stuff was very weird when I started reading it. Very weird. This is not about Jewish, Christian, nothing like that. This is the whole. Here we're looking at miracles. We're becoming very aware of miracles. Here we're creating them. We're learning to create the miracles, which is to do nothing. Do nothing. Be effortless. And the miracles happen. Everything's a miracle. This said that. Here we're looking at the journey of this little self to the bigger self, the higher self. Here we're talking a lot more from the unity. Union. Lots of stuff on union here. Lots of thing about forgiveness here. Lots of forgiveness. And I finished this book, I'm going, forgive. I got too much anger. I don't forgive so easy. What do? I'm so mad when I finish this book here. But here he talks a lot about feelings over here. Not much here. Here he's talking about embracing the feelings. Embrace them. For me, that's a hot bath. I embrace when I take the hot bath. Here we're talking about the ego, on and on with the ego. Here he calls them old patterns. So when I get into my old patterns, I think of O-P. Remember O-P? From the show, what is that show? There. and the Griffiths. So when I get into the old patterns, I start singing the song in the tunes. Here we're talking perception, and I didn't understand much of what he had to say about the perception. But I think here he's taking perception to imagination. Use that imagination. When I meditate, oh my God, so much imagination, so wonderful, but I see. Here we're talking a lot about belief, what are the beliefs, and we're taking it over here to, well, if you believe it, it is already accomplished, it's done, because why not? All there is now. If you got a dream, it's now. You just haven't gone through the steps yet, but it's now, it's done. Okay? So everything is accomplished already. Here we're talking long-ass chapters. Here we're talking shorter chapters. Here we're talking, it's written in iambic pentameter, here, 3 verse. Okay? Simple, right? Okay, you got, who gets this here? Anybody here get this? Are we getting this somewhere? Of course we're getting this for stuff. Okay, so, now, it's time to, let me see if I have anything else to say, because you see I'm a control freak, and if I don't say something here that is written down, I'll beat myself up later. Okay, so it's time to bring in my cousin. My cousin Janet. You're ready, I know you're ready. Okay, we're going to show them to sing while I go get Janet.
You ready, Alan?
Okay, I go there. Oh, my little booby. Boobies all over. All of you boobies. Okay, you go get her.
Hopefully this will work. We've been having a lot of technical difficulties. We were supposed to get the woman who channeled A Course of Love, Marie Perron, from Minnesota. And nothing has worked out, so. You know what?
We do this? Yes.
Now we gotta reopen it. Guys. Easy, Janet.
I just don't know if all of you can speak.
Yeah. Let them do it. You just.
Are they going to
roll
get to
on.
see the video you made?
Well, maybe I can see it afterwards.
Alright, you made me the most hilarious video I wanted you to see.
It's from Jib Jab's reading parts.
First, I want to do a little intro before we bring them in here. I just want to tell you a little bit about how I got to... Good preview now. Okay. So my name's Janet Berkowitz. I have studied A Course in Miracles for 30 years. I joined all kinds of groups. I lived in a community for the Course in Miracles with Alan Cohen. And I found it kind of hard to discuss. I'd get into my head. Although I gotta say, Kaylee does a beautiful job here with her group. I've been to it. And as I said before, I was very angry with Yeshe when I finished that book. It's like, don't tell me to forgive, just forgive, forgive, forgive. I'm a rageaholic. Some of you may have heard me talk about that. I go to Rageaholics Anonymous. I've been a rageaholic since I was a toddler. So this material was very hard for me to meet A Course in Miracles. And then The Course of Love softened me a whole lot. I still do work with The Course in Miracles. I take one lesson and I work through it through the whole year, my astrological cycle. And I just read a paragraph from it every day and it helps me a lot. I found A Course of Love in 2013. Stephen Heilicke, our old minister here, told me about it, and I ran home and bought the books. Ate them up. 6 months I spent in my bedroom mostly, just reading these books. And it really helped me to come into myself. And it made it safe for me to be with myself. A lot of you know that I have an extensive history with suicidality, at which time I also spent a lot of time alone, but I was scared. This was time alone that I wanted. So I've gotten into a lot of solitude lately. I needed it to take in these books. When I finished the third book, I literally laid down on the floor and cried next to my dog. It was so riveting. I can't tell you guys, so riveting. She's here. So what happened was I wrote a poem, and I'm going to read you the poem that I wrote about me. And the end of the last book is called 40 Days and 40 Nights. And in this book, yes, she's saying, you're now going to spend 40 days and 40 nights with me. Just like, you know, he actually did that. And I wrote this poem after I read this. You gotta know something. This was very hard for me to let all of this stuff in. I was raised Jewish. We didn't talk about Jesus. And one day I took my parents to therapy with me to tell them that I was doing these books that were, I think, written by Jesus. As far as I can tell, I've never read anything like it on this planet. And my mother was so gorgeous. She says to me, honey, did you ever read the Sermon on the Mount? Which I hadn't. This is beautiful. He was a beautiful man. She got it, and I didn't know she had it all that time. So it helped me when she said that. Yeah. Hi, sweetheart.
I don't know if she can see.
You can't see me, can you? You can hear me? Do you hear me, Mari? Okay. All right. Well, can you get her into the system here, the speaker system? Is Mary there? Oh, okay. Just the whole. Can she see? Oh, yeah. Okay. Here I am, Mari. Here I am, dear. Okay. I'm just reading a poem now. It's called Meet and Merge. I met you on the mountaintop, you who they call Lord. I gave you all the time I had, all that I could afford. For 40 days and 40 nights, we had this gorgeous dialogue, and spoke of the things unspoken, and witnessed lifting of the fog. Time quickly evaporated right before my eyes, as you embraced my agony, my fearfulness and cries. We shared a space beyond all doubts, questions, and learning, where love of all, the love of God, is the only yearning. This wondrous thing slowly occurred, as you erased the illusion of wounds I thought I'd endured. When time came for descent, I was my spacious self, leaving self-destructive toys upon the proverbial shelf. We'd met and merged into a oneness so grand. Tears seared my grateful cheek. I could barely even stand. I lay myself upon the ground and held my resting dog. These tears of joy were evidence of no ordinary dialogue. No longer are we student and teacher. I have no need for the ego, slain preacher. Now we walk side by side, bestest buddies on a yet-to-be-created ride. No more awe, no more glory, just the unified author of an unwritten story. Fortunately, we know the ending, the bosom of God in the ultimate blending. So anyway, then I wrote Mari, and finally after did she see me? Yeah. She lost my letter, and then she found it again, right? And then we start.
Mary's here, I'll be right back.
Okay, Mary's there. Well, they'll tell you the story. Just tell you briefly, so I wrote Mari, and Phil calls us Mari, Mary, and Murray. So I wrote Mari, and we started writing through, email. Then we Skyped, and then I went to meet her at a Course in Miracles convention in New York City. And I was stunned. I don't see light around people's heads or anything, but I saw light around this woman. And she's very gentle and very easy, and we went out to dinner with her. And, if I try to talk to her about the book, she just looks at me and goes, I knew she didn't write this. She did. In fact, yes, she says at the end of the book, he says, we all wrote this. We all wrote everything. We all wrote every book that ever was. Hey, Bobby! Hi! This is Mary. Okay, so Mary is Mari's dear friend. They were friends years before any of this came through. They wrote several books together. They're on the back table. Trilogy of Grace. The Grace Trilogy, it's called. And I told that story last time I was here. And so I wrote her, Mari. We start writing. Oh my God. Then I read her book. Oh my God, I cried through the whole thing. It's about her daughter who died after 5 weeks, whose spirit is in me deeply. And we really start writing. Boom, 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 lots of writing. And these are just two of my just new dear friends, and it's been just exquisite. So they're going to talk, and they'll tell you their story. Can we get them into the speakers? You might need the microphone onto there. When they
just start talking. It doesn't come through the...
Okay, you guys start talking. Yabber yabber. Go ahead, talk. Hello.
Turn on both.
Okay, so let's put my microphone here and see if this works. Okay, now talk.
Hey, I'm Mari Monroe, and I'm very excited to be here. So thankful that Janet came up with this idea of inviting us, and I apologize that I got it wrong. I put the start time, so here we are.
What's the time zone? I think you have to hit that word. The time zone. Oops. Okay, hold on. Oh. Okay. You do it. All right. You here? I want to sit here. Let's see. All right. Okay, go ahead, ladies.
I guess that's it. Yes, I think so.
Just kind of be as loud as you can, okay?
Can you turn the music off?
Oh, yeah,
Come on, free feedback.
Who's your favorite?
Oh, okay, we're locking your view, okay. Okay, go ahead, girls.
No, I can't hear it at all.
No, we don't hear you.
Is the volume on TV or what?
Okay, let's get...
It's not coming.
Talk, get talk.
Yeah, you gotta talk loud, girls. Talk loud. Where's the microphone? Who knows where the microphone is?
Get talk.
You're telling if you're hearing me any better or not.
Yes, that's good.
Yes, that's good.
Yes, good.
Okay, so do you want us to start, or do you
Go
want...
ahead.
Okay. Hi, I'm Mary Long. Mari and I have been friends for a long time. Since 1993 we met. So, even before that, because we were 40. I know, you were at 40. Oh, no, that's right. You're right. Yeah, okay. So, we go way back. Needless to say. So, and believe it or not, her mother and my mother were best friends. And they would talk about their daughters, and that did not, you don't necessarily think you'll get along with your mother's best friend's daughter. But when Mary and I first met, and that's why we met, the connection was so strong. It's unbelievable. And we actually met over, my husband and I had gone to an estate sale, and we found an old diary of someone that, from the early 1900s, and I remember the first time I actually met Mari, I brought this diary out and began reading it to her, and we really came together just over someone's story, and we've been fast friends ever since. And everything's really grown from there. So that's the only time I met her before this job opening came, where I worked at the time at the university. And I thought, I wonder if Mary would be interested in this job. And so she applied and came to work with me, and that's where we really began to join together. And there were three of us actually, Mary and Julianne and I. Yes, and at that point I had just started working at the University of Minnesota in Mari's department. It was a graduate healthcare program, and I became pregnant about 6 months after starting the job. And at that point, towards the end of my pregnancy, I found out that there might be something possibly wrong with my daughter, and there was. And Mari and my friend Julie, we really came together as friends in everything. We began our spiritual journey, I believe, at that point in time, as women, as friends, and as mothers. So, it hadn't been even in our consciousness. I mean, to me, I was Catholic, but I had really no concept of all the new things going on spiritually, or until that time when there was like this opening. And it's one of the reasons that I'm so glad that you're here with me, because what happened with us was about love, and it was about our experience, sharing experience, and it was about wanting to know each other in a really expanded way. And I believe that's really what's missing sometimes with our spiritual paths, is that incredible connection, person to person, the experience, and trusting your experience. And one of the things I really love about the course of love is that it encourages us to trust our feelings and our experience. Well, I absolutely agree. And one of the things that began to happen with us is we felt we were so ordinary. And these things did not happen to ordinary people. And they began to happen. We began to have shared experiences. And we come into work and begin to share these stories over coffee. And how long after that was it that you began working with that? Of course. Yeah. Well, Mary and I were still working together when I had this dream that felt like a prophetic dream. And it said basically, you can no longer sell your mind for money. Your mind now belongs to God. And I had that sense of that prophetic nature of it, but you know, you can try to ignore things like that, and which I did. And of course, I loved my job. I was working with we call it Chuck Spirit Sisters. But I became increasingly unable to do my job. And it's kind of the same phenomenon